Are you ready? It's coast to coast, we're here and we representing Tom Joyner Foundation. We about to jump right in it. The body is woke. HBCUs, let's go. Tradition, trendsetting. Let's do it for the culture. HBCU Ubiquity.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Joyner Foundation presents HBCU Ubiquity. I'm your host, Thomas Joyner Jr. Question: what is it like to attend an HBCU if you're not black? Well, when talking about the HBCU experience, or singing, I'm so glad. I know I can't sing, but that may be why I'm podcasting instead of singing. But hey, we sang that on my campus during the 90s, and I'm pretty sure they still sing that at HBCUs on today. But like I was saying, when we reflect and reminisce about our days at HBCUs, I'm going to go out on a limb here and submit that it's not often that we reflect on our non-black classmates unless we pledged or played a sport with them. Many listeners to this episode of HBCU Ubiquity can relate to being black at a PWI, or predominantly white institution, but what's the flip side of that situation like? Anyone that's ever attended an HBCU knows that our faculties at the schools are full of non-black adjuncts and tenured professors. Not to stereotype, but we're used to whites, Asians, and other races in the science departments, math departments, humanity, and business schools. Many of us knew of non-black students in school, many on some kind of scholarship. But did you ever take the time to sit with one of them and talk about their experiences at our institutions? And in case you didn't know, here's a news flash. Many HBCUs are now predominantly non-black in terms of their student populations. You can look no further than West Virginia State University and Bluefield State College. In this week's episode, we'll talk about these sometimes hidden figures on our campus with some very interesting HBCU faculty. In the next segment, we'll visit with Coach Jose Vasquez, head baseball coach at Alabama State University, who, as you will hear, is definitely a true SWAC coach through and through. In the segment after that, we'll visit with Mr. Manuel Mcgriff, Dean of Students, and Ms. Caritza Mariani, Director of Retention and Academic Advising, and both of them work at and serve the illustrious Paul Quinn College in Dallas, Texas. Thank you for listening to this episode of HBCU Ubiquity. As always, you can help us continue and expand this week's conversation. Just visit us on Twitter, Facebook, and as students of all races like to say, you can hit us on the IG. Please visit us on social media at HBCU Ubiquity, and that's spelled HBCU Biquity. Thank you, and again, welcome to HBCU Ubiquity. Let's get started.
Before we get back to the HBCU Ubiquity podcast, let's take a look at some Tom Joyner Foundation fundraising highlights. Here's an example of TJF's success.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Lucas, a sophomore biology pre-nursing major at Sibley College from Jackson, Mississippi. I would like to thank the Dallas Alumni Chapter and the Tom Joyner Foundation for the honor of receiving this scholarship, which will assist me in obtaining my Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. Upon completing my degree, I plan to serve my community as a pediatric registered nurse. Thank you.
To donate to the Tom Joyner Foundation, just log on to www.tomjoynerfoundation.org and you can help a student continue their education at a HBCU.
Welcome back to HBCU Ubiquity. This is Thomas Joyner Jr., and I'm joined today by Coach Jose Vasquez, head coach of baseball for Alabama State University. How are you today, Coach Vasquez?
I'm doing good. How are things going over there?
Things are going well. Things are going really well today. Thanks for joining HBCU Ubiquity.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time, and thank you for having me.
So how did you find yourself becoming a coach at Alabama State?
Well, kind of a long story, but I'll make it short. Let me tell you how it happened. I'm a product of HBCU. I am an alum of Bethune-Cookman. At the time, used to be Bethune-Cookman College. Now it's Bethune-Cookman University. But I played my senior year at Bethune-Cookman. We accomplished some good things on the baseball field. Got my degree, and as soon as I got my degree, I started coaching. Was given an opportunity to stay on the staff and started coaching, and we accomplished some good things. And then in 2011, the head coach at the time at Bethune-Cookman had an opportunity to become the head coach at Alabama State. And he made that decision, asked us and asked me if I could come with him to Alabama State. And I came with him, and I was with him here for 6 years as the associate head coach. And I was the associate head coach also at Bethune-Cookman prior to coming to Alabama State. Back in 2016, he had an opportunity to go to be the head coach at Florida International University. And I just felt that it was the right time, and Alabama State gave me an opportunity that I'm extremely grateful for, and to become the head coach at a Division I institution. And I've been the head coach now in my third year at Alabama State.
So what was that transition like from MEAC to the SWAC?
You know what? It was during our time in the MEAC, we played some schools from the SWAC. Not that many, but we did play. I remember playing Alcorn. I remember playing Grambling a couple of times. And we knew that the baseball was top notch. When we came from Daytona Beach, at the time, it was a little shocking getting into Montgomery, a little different area. Obviously, you're not on the beach and in the close to the Orlando area. But we knew that we did our research, and we knew that Montgomery was a great place to live and a great place to raise a family. And we made the decision, and so far it's been a blessing.
Coach Vasquez, what would you say is the biggest challenge to being a non-black coach at an HBCU like Alabama State?
The biggest challenge, I don't see it as a challenge, but sometimes, it's when we go to places and people see the coaching staff and they notice that, we're not black. Some people kind of may just, question it. But I think when they see the product that we put out there, when they see how good we represent Alabama State, and when they see that Alabama State is really the priority, for us as a coaching staff and for me as a head coach. And it's just something that goes away pretty quick. I feel that the alum are very proud of what we're doing. We get that support daily. And once again, we're just happy to go out there every day and compete and make sure that ASU is always held up high, in the standards of college baseball.
And the flip side of that question is, what would you say is the biggest benefit?
The biggest benefit is to be able to bring, in my opinion, what life is about, to bring the diversity, the different backgrounds together, and to relate it to life. That's what, in my opinion, what life is all about. When you get in the workplace, you have to be able to relate to everybody, different backgrounds, different races. And I think it's a benefit for me to get to coach great young men, whether they black, white, Hispanic. We have a melting pot in our program. And I think it's a huge benefit to when the kids get out of here with a degree, they're able to go out there in the world and make sure that they can communicate with everybody, make sure they can understand different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and different ways of life. And that's, to me, is an outstanding benefit of being here, so they can experience that prior to getting in the real world.
It's a very interesting answer, Coach Vasquez. If you don't mind, I have actually two follow-up questions to that. I guess the first one is, with that said, what you just said, what kind of practices and processes have you implemented as a head coach to ensure that your students are as successful in the classroom, or even more successful in the classroom, as they are on the diamond?
Well, one thing the best way to answer that is that Alabama State has put us in the best situation possible. We have everything in place, not only from the facility standpoint, but I'm talking about academics. We have a great supporting staff. Our academic services are extremely organized. We understand that they're student athletes first. It's something that I take very seriously. It's something that I take a lot of pride on, making sure that our guys doing good in the classroom. Ever since I became the head coach, we have completed every year with a 3.0 GPA as a
Congratulations.
team. Thank you so much. That's something that I'm extremely proud of, and hopefully we can continue that. It's not easy, especially when you're managing 30 to 35 guys and making sure that everybody's responsible. And when you go through the grind of the season, it's 56 games that we play. We're on the road quite a bit. Being a student still comes first. But once again, that's a big testament of the supporting staff that we have, our administration, the way that they do things, and our academic services, monitoring the guys. We do classroom checks, we do study halls, we make sure that everything stays in line so the guys can continue to have success in the classroom. It's extremely important for me, for my staff, And also during the recruiting process, we had to make sure that we get the right student athletes, that understand that they need to do good in the classroom in order for them to continue to have that privilege of being a Division I player.
And before we start recording this interview, you mentioned to me that even though you all are not on campus today, this is an off day. You have your players still studying and doing their classwork today.
Oh, absolutely. Everywhere we go, we make sure we have access to the internet. Guys bring their computers. It's getting to that time of year that, as a matter of fact, I have a few guys that are traveling today that had to stay back for yesterday's game. Graduating seniors, they have final presentations. Mm-hmm. And, once again, it's something that happens at every institution, but, we're excited for them, guys that are graduating early May, and they can always have that sense of being proud, having a degree not only for themselves, but having a degree from our great university, a degree that definitely is going to put them in a great situation, when they get in the workplace. And I'm happy for them. I have about 4 seniors that are graduating this year. I have a few more that are graduating in the summer. So it's a great accomplishment as a coach to have guys that are able to go through 4 years of being a student athlete. Like I said, it's not easy, but for them to accomplish that, something that nobody can take away from them, getting that college degree. Agreed.
And again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Coach Vasquez, in terms of non-Black coaches and athletes, both, in the SWAC and I guess in the MEAC as well, would you say that that's more common or less common than people might realize?
You know what? I feel that it's less common than people will realize. There's a lot of Black coaches in our conference. There's a lot of Black players in our conference. There's a lot of good players, but everything goes hand in hand. It's obviously we're required to do a good job, and I'm speaking on behalf of every coach in our conference. We're required to put a good product out there, and we have to go out there as coaches and identify who can play at the Division I level. And sometimes there's a lot of good players that choose to go somewhere else for whatever reason, maybe to a non-HBCU, but we still have the resources, and now I'm talking about just ASU. We have the resources to be able to identify plenty of players and make sure that we target the right guy and guys that can come here and represent themselves, their families, and this institution the right way. It's not easy, but we can find the guys, and once again, we have everything in place. And all I have to say about that is just it's a great credit. The credit goes to to our president, to board of trustees, to the people that put our program in a situation like that where we can continue to recruit not only locally but nationally, to be able to get those kind of players that want to be part of our program and the whole HBCU experience.
And it sounds like you have a lot of support, especially when I look at your roster and see that over a third of your roster is between Caucasian and Latino.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything. Well, once again, we identify players. Always the priority for us is always going to try to go after the best, best African-American players that are out there. But also when doing that, we're competing, with obviously the Alabamas, the Auburns, and the state of Alabama has become a baseball state. Now we have...
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Now it has changed. The game has changed. We have UAB, we have Troy, we have Sanford, we have South Alabama, and that's, like I said, not including the Auburn, the South Alabama. Now with North Alabama becoming a Division I school, we also have Alabama A&M. So baseball in the state of Alabama has continued to take off, really, and it's just a battle. We have to win the recruiting battle, and sometimes we win it, sometimes we lose it, just like just the way life is.
Yeah.
We never shy away from competition because we know, we believe in our product. We believe what our university has to offer from top to bottom, from the people that work there, from the buildings that we have to offer, and from the people that are really going to make a difference in this young people's life when they get there. So
And like I said, it sounds like you have a lot of support from the administration, from the staff, from the alumni and the students. So that's a blessing.
I do. It is a blessing. You know, not everybody goes through that. I count my blessings every day, and that's something that I feel very proud of. I'm very proud of being a product of an HBCU. I'm very proud of Alabama State and what we bring to the table. But at the end of the day, you know, when I look at the whole situation, I'm very thankful. Yeah. You know, I'm also a minority, and Alabama State gave me an opportunity that it took me 15 years to be in this position. You know, I was an assistant for 15 years prior to being a head coach. And for Alabama State and the administration to believe in me and allowing me to lead this program is something that I don't take for granted. You know, I believe in what we have to offer, like I said, and I'm very thankful of, you know, for being here and for everything that they have done for me and my family. And hopefully I can do it here at ASU for many more years.
Coach Vasquez, a few answers back, you ended the answer with talking about preparing your players for life at an HBCU. So with that said, what kind of advice do you give to your recruits about, you know, the experience as well as athletics at Alabama State?
Well, I think I'll go back to my answer earlier. When you come here, you're gonna get a taste right away of what the world really is about. A lot of the kids that we get, obviously they want to play professional sport. They want to play professional baseball. Professional baseball is the biggest, you know, melting pot sport that there is out there.
Yeah.
You got you know, white, black, Hispanics. Now you got Asian players. Mm-hmm. So you got a little bit of everything. And that's one thing that I relate and I also express to our recruits. You know, we have a little bit of everything. We're gonna make sure that we understand each other. We're always gonna be respectful with each other. You know, you have to comply obviously with the rules that we have, but we're gonna work hard and we're gonna help them accomplish their dream. You know, one goal that I have as a head coach, and I always had it, but now as a head coach, I'm able to basically control that a little more, and it's to make sure that they leave this place being a professional either way, whether it's with a degree or whether it's on the field. You know, we have been fortunate that since we've been here at ASU over the last 6 years, we had at least one player drafted every year.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Several guys have signed free agent contracts that you know, have gone out and done an excellent job. Hopefully this year we can have one or two more guys that get an opportunity to play professional baseball. But at the end of the day, the thing that I'm the most proud is that we got, like I said, we have 5-6 guys that are graduating and that are walking out of here with a degree, and they're walking out of here with a lot of memories and the experiences that they will last a lifetime for them. And it's something that once again, as I look back, and now I'm 40, I'm the 40-year-old club. So, you know, I get to believe in those things. I get to really promote those things because I know that's what's really important. You know, the percentages of people making it to the big leagues continues to get smaller and smaller by the day. And even though, yeah, we're going to continue to help them, you know, try to reach that dream, we also know that it's very hard to get to be a professional athlete. But one thing that I can assure them is I'm gonna, you know, take care of them, and I'm gonna make sure that I look out for them. And if they want to be cared for, we're definitely gonna take care of them. And, you know, hopefully once again they can do the right things and get out of here with a college degree.
Well, Coach, welcome to the 40 Club. It's the best decade of them all. We have the appearance and the agility of youth, but the wisdom of age. So it's all good.
It feels pretty good right now. Just turned 40 about, 2 months ago, and it feels pretty good. I still feel, you know, energetic and all that stuff. But, you know, I'm getting to, you know, a little wiser, you know, with time. Now I understand what my parents used to tell me, and definitely now double the age of the guys that I'm dealing with every day, and having a good group always keeps me young, keeps me motivated, But it's fun to be at this age, and sometimes you can relate to them, throughout the year, whether they're going through struggles with, family situations, whether they're struggling on the field, whether they're struggling in the classroom. You can relate to them, because at some point we went through a lot of the situations that they're going through right now. And we just have to keep a positive mindset. And, we gotta, once again, sometimes you gotta discipline and be hard, but it's all for a good purpose, and hopefully they'll learn from their mistakes and continue to live a good life.
Coach Vasquez, my last question for today is how are those Hornets going to do in the SWAC this season?
How what? Say that again.
How are y'all going to do in the SWAC this season?
Well, the goal is always to win. I'm very careful when I talk about what we're gonna do. I think we have. I'll tell you. I'll answer it very, politically. We got the team to do some damage. Right now, we have a big series against Alabama A&M this weekend. Right now we're sitting in first place in our division. We have some goals that we set for the program every year on the field, and one of them is to be able to win our division. Hopefully we can continue to play good baseball the rest of the year in conference. That gives us an opportunity to be in the conference tournament. And I've been in the conference tournament when we have won it. I've been in the conference tournament when we have not won the tournament. And it's just one thing that it's a different animal over there. We have to show up with the right mental ability. We have the physical ability to win a championship, but we have to be mentally ready to be able to overcome things that are going to happen in the tournament. But I like this club. Some guys need to step up. Conversations that I have every day. Some guys that are having the years that we thought they would have, they need to step up and they need to play a little better. And the guys that are having a good year need to try to stay consistent. So I don't let my highs get too high, my lows get too low. I just, try to work as hard as I can to make sure that our guys stay humble and continue to work hard. I know what this game brings. It's a different game every day, and it's a different challenge every day. So our goal is to compete. Our goal is to win. Our goal is to win a championship. I can't hide that. I can't tell you that that's not our goal. But, I want us to play good baseball. And if we play ASU baseball, we play aggressive. And we, basically follow the plan that we have set out for every game. I like our chances to compete for a championship here in the conference tournament.
Well, Coach Jose Vasquez, thank you very much for joining us today at HBCU Ubiquity. This has been a great conversation, and I wish you and the team the best of luck the rest of the season.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity. We just like I told you before, we're very happy to represent not only Alabama State but HBCU baseball, and we're making strides every year. HBCU baseball is getting better, so I want to thank you personally for the opportunity to be on the show and the podcast. And anytime you want to have me over, just let me know. We'll talk baseball.
Will do. And we'll be back with more HBCU Ubiquity.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break and learn about one of the Tom Joyner Foundation scholarship programs that helps students at historic Black colleges and universities. Here's an example of the Tom Joyner Foundation's success.
Hi, my name is Sidonia Cherie Thomas, a freshman biology major from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I am extremely honored and grateful to receive this scholarship as I pursue my studies at Toulouse College. I would like to personally thank the Washington, D.C. Alumni Chapter, the Tom Joyner Foundation, and my parents, Milo and Jacqueline Thomas.
To donate to the Tom Joyner Foundation, just log on to www.tomjoynerfoundation.org, and you can help a student continue their education at a HBCU.
Welcome back to HBCU Ubiquity. This is Thomas Joyner Jr., and I'm joined today by Mr. Manuel Mcgriff, Dean of Students, and Ms. Caritza Mariani, Director of Retention and Academic Advising, and both of them are at Paul Quinn College. How are you all today?
I'm doing well.
Doing great.
Great to hear. So, Mr. Mcgriff, in terms of ethnicity, what would you say is a roundabout composition mix of Paul Quinn's student population this semester?
Okay, so we are about 76% African American, 17% Hispanic, and 7% white or international student.
And so why are non-blacks attracted, especially whites and Latinos, to Paul Quinn College?
I think it's a natural attraction because of what we offer here at the institution. There's a few things that I also think attract some of our different ethnic backgrounds. Like, for example, 5 or 6 years ago, a student wanted a soccer team. So he did all the work to get the soccer team started, and the soccer team continuously grew, and so did our Hispanic enrollment. And this year, for the first time, they actually went to nationals to compete.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Because I'm sorry to cut you off, but if I'm not mistaken, that team is only about 2 years old now, right?
Yep.
Congratulations.
And that was started by a student. And so that student, by word of mouth, continuously recruited. And I think that's how our Hispanic population grew to what it is now at 17%.
Mr. Mcgriff, again, sorry to cut you off on this, but would you say that's an example of the Quinnite Nation at work?
Yes, that's a definite example of the Quinnite Nation at work.
And Mr. Mcgriff, as HBCUs go, Paul Quinn College certainly has a diverse student population, as you just said. But how does that reflect on the campus and in everyday student life?
Oh, it reflects really big. All of our students are welcome to be a part of leadership opportunities. All of our students are in the work program, especially the ones that live on campus. And so all the participation is pretty reflective of our breakdown, as we stated earlier. So you will see all, you won't just see African Americans doing everything. You will see our Hispanic students, our white students, and our international students participate in everything.
We're such a small place. So we're at about 510 students. So because of that, the students do interact a lot. Mm-hmm. We've got students coming down to the soccer games that never saw a soccer game before in their life, and they are shouting and yelling for the Tigers, and some of their biggest fans, and I'd say sort of vice versa. So when we do have, mixers and parties and things like that, everyone's definitely pretty cool with everyone.
And Ms. Mariani, why should a non-black student consider attending an HBCU in general or Paul Quinn College specifically?
Well, I'd say Paul Quinn College specifically because of the financial aid benefit that we offer here. Our school is pretty well reflective of the neighborhoods around it. So when you're looking at Dallas and DeSoto and Wilmer Hutchins, we've got both really big Black and Hispanic populations. And the school is costing at about $15,000 a year. But because we are the only urban work college in the country, our students also have this work benefit where they're earning $5,000 towards their tuition. And, it really doesn't matter what ethnicity you are then, that benefit is really going to help out families, regardless of where you come from.
And speaking of that, especially for the benefit of our listeners that may not be aware, can you expand a little bit upon what a work college is and how that relates to Paul Quinn?
Sure. So our work program, we're federally designated work program. So what that means is each student that resides on campus has to have employment with us. So we find jobs on campus for those students, and those jobs are to prepare the students to work off campus in corporate partnerships. And the corporate partnerships are those positions for our juniors and seniors that create a pipeline to a career for them so that they pick up all the soft skills and learn a position that they can, once they graduate, actually take on and change the trajectory of their entire life. So we sell this program as something where we will train the students to be ready based off the skills that the employers are saying that students do not have when they graduate. And we're utilizing that opportunity to put them in places that are going to create opportunities for them to change their entire life. So there's two components of it. There's an on-campus work college component, and then there's an off-campus. So the students are paid similar. So they receive $5,000 to pay for school to be in the work college program, and then they receive an additional stipend per month if they meet the targets, the hourly targets. So a student could come out with $7,000 total at the end of the year from being a part of the work program.
And while we're on that topic, in terms of introducing Paul Quinn to our national audience at HBCU Ubiquity, can you also explain for our audience the significance of the We Over Me Farm?
Yes. The We Over Me Farm was really created because there's a need. This area is located in a food desert, so you could go miles and there's no fresh produce, no grocery store. And so President Sorrell saw a need to change that for the area. So the We Over Me Farm started because of that. And it's interesting that we're in Texas and we're at HBCU. And the first thing that took place when President Sorrell came about 12 years ago was we got rid of the football team. And that is the location for the farm.
And Ms. Mariani, you know, when you are advising students about Paul Quinn College, what do you tell them about, you know, especially, you know, the Hispanic and the non-white students about life on the HBCU campus?
Well, I think HBCUs just provide a unique sense of family and community that I think can be hard to find at other places. And so if we generally recruit from the inner cities. We're looking for the best and brightest inner city students, those future leaders. And when you are leaving those places, it's really comforting to come to a place where people care about you. They're going to check up on you. And they're helping you map out this plan for what happens next. A lot of our students are navigating just so many things for the first time. Not only just college in general, but holding a career or getting to grad school or whatever it may be. And so when you are sort of surrounded by these adults who are all lined up and ready for you each year, you know, to progress into the next level, I think that winds up being something that attracts students sort of regardless of race.
And in terms of the 30% of your student population that is not Black, what about participation in clubs, student organizations, fraternities and sororities? You know, what's that like?
Yeah, it's pretty diverse. Everybody kind of jumps in where they fit in. We just had our student government race, and the results are pretty diverse as well. There are students. Our Miss Paul Quinn is Puerto Rican and African American. Senior class commissioners are African American and Mexican. And, you know, we've got representatives at the highest levels that are even, you know, not from this country, undocumented even. And so I think as far as, you know, we believe that closed mouths don't get fed. That's kind of our underlying motto and everything. So if you are interested in something, we want to get it started. The actual soccer team would not have existed if one guy didn't say, you know what, we need soccer. You know, me and my friends need soccer. And so we've got everything from art club to health and wellness and sort of all these things. And they bring their people. And then if something doesn't exist, we have a very entrepreneurial spirit about us here at Paul Quinn. Entrepreneurship is one of our majors. It's one of the most popular ones. So if you want to start something, it doesn't really matter who you are. We want to get it off the ground and figure out how to support that.
And you all also have multicultural Greek letter organizations too, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we're right now, for example, in our fraternities are 50% Hispanic, and they belong to the historically African American fraternities. So,
but do you also have historically Hispanic fraternities and sororities as well?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the multicultural fraternity.
Yeah. My last question for really both of you is: do you foresee Paul Quinn becoming more diverse in the future, or is this a short-term trend?
I think that's a great question. You know, because we haven't intentionally gone out to diversify the student body, I think that we're just looking for leaders. You know, we're just looking for students that can be great Quinnites, that can be servant leaders in the future. We're going to grow. We're at 500 now, and really our big overall goal is about 2,000 to be like a solid small college. And President Sorrell, he always tells students when big groups come, you don't have to look like us to be us, to be one of us. And so I think that as long as that kind of continues to be our focus, we're going to welcome in the future leaders from inner cities regardless. And we all as staff, we're fairly diverse as well. So we definitely welcome students coming from all different walks of life.
And I agree this is not a trend, because the leadership of President Sorrell is to be innovative and to be welcoming. And he says all the time, you can look like me and still not be my brother. And so he encourages us to look to any students that are interested in being coachable to bring to the campus. And I think that is kind of how our diversity is sustained here at the institution. And I think it will continue as long as we follow those exact same tenets moving forward.
Well, Mr. Mcgriff and Ms. Mariani, thank you for this conversation, for the information and for your candor. I'm an HBCU alum as well, and these are the kind of conversations that we should all be having to talk about what's going on at all of our schools, whether we are in the Deep South, the East Coast, the Northeast, wherever. So on behalf of HBCU Ubiquity, thank you for your time and for today's interview.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
And we'll be back with more HBCU Ubiquity.
Before we get back to the HBCU Ubiquity podcast, let's take a look at some Tom Joyner Foundation fundraising highlights. Here's an example of TJF's success.
Hi, my name is Andrew Davis. I am a junior music education major with a concentration in piano performance from Durham, North Carolina. Upon completing my degree, I would like to get a master's in conducting, and I would like to further my education by getting a PhD in either ethnomusicology or musicology, and using that degree to teach at a college or university. Thank you.
To donate to the Tom Joyner Foundation, just log on to www.tomjoynerfoundation.org, and you can help a student continue their education at a HBCU.
Welcome back to HBCU Ubiquity. I don't know about you, but for me, today's conversations have been very enlightening, to say the least. Do you agree? Let us know on our social media. HBCU Ubiquity. HBCUBIQUITY. On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. As a longtime advocate and fundraiser for HBCUs, I'll put it like this. Our schools need students. Black, white, Latino, it doesn't matter. HBCUs have so much more to offer, and not just for black students. I applaud and thank the other races for giving our schools consideration and a chance, especially our private institutions like Paul Quinn College. It's becoming more and more difficult for our private institutions to compete with their public counterparts, especially when public universities offer in-state tuition rates and academic areas of study that not all private institutions can offer. If our schools will be around in the year 2119, we will need other races to spread our gospel as to why HBCUs are wonderful choices and why our degrees can stand up to any other degrees offered in the United States. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Tom Joyner Foundation presents HBCU Ubiquity. Please tell a friend, or a classmate, or a former roommate, or a line brother, or a line sister, or your co-workers. And please come back on next week to check out a new episode. I'm Thomas Joyner Jr. Thank you for being a part of this conversation with a purpose. And thank you for listening to HBCU Ubiquity. HBCU.